He heads up the multimedia studio here, and we are really, really lucky to have the guys from Homestar Runner here. If you don't know what Homestar Runner is, it is one of the most popular Flash animated cartoons on the web. And these guys have been written up in New York Times, Wired, they've been interviewed for All Things Considered. You guys have worked with They Might Be Giants, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, but we're really, really lucky to have them here. They're going to do a flash demo for us and answer a few questions that you guys might have. So without further ado, Mike and Matt Chapman.
Thanks, Allison.
And this is Ryan Starrett. He works with us and does authors all our DVDs and does all our video stuff also.
Matt?
Hi everybody.
Thanks for having us, by the way, guys. This place is pretty awesome. Allison was trying to get me to do it, and I am generally really nervous about doing this kind of stuff, but when she showed me pictures of how it's all decked out like Mario Land, I decided it would make me feel very comfortable, which it really hasn't because I'm still pretty nervous, but anyway.
Back in the Mushroom Kingdom.
And the last time I was on the Georgia Tech campus was probably in like 1986 in the Science Olympiad, when which is just like kind of mathletes kind of, but I had to do this event called Bottle Music, where you filled up bottles with different amounts of water and made a song hitting them with a spoon, and I didn't want to do it, so we pushed the kid that was holding our box of bottles so that they broke so that we didn't have to compete. So
good job.
Yeah.
One time I went to Bobby Crummon's basketball camp in 4th grade. It was a stay overnight camp. It was awesome. And these kids tried to get me to cuss, and I wasn't cussing yet. And they were like, say a cuss. They were like, you never cuss, Chapman. And I was like, no, I cuss all the time. What are you talking about? And they were like, well, then say a cuss word. And so, so that everything would be okay, and I would still go to heaven, I go, shit. And in my head it was S-H-E-T. But they totally bought it and thought I said shit, and then I was cool.
So anyway, we do a website called homestarrunner.com. We've been doing it for over 7 years now, and it's pretty much been our sole job for like the last 5 now. And it's just Flash animated cartoons on the web. We make money by selling t-shirts. We don't have any ads on the site or anything like that. The only revenue is from people buying shirts and DVDs and the merchandise that we sell on the site. And so anyway, we were just, they asked us to do a little demo about how we do stuff, and it's pretty funny because all these computers are decked out and much nicer than the computers that we make Homestar on. We use Flash 5, which I think they're on Flash 8 now. Yeah. So the version of Flash we use is about 4 years outdated, for various lazy reasons, mostly just not wanting to, get used to the minor changes in interface and things like that.
No, we definitely work faster. There's several things that we can do way faster in Flash 5 than we can in 8. We publish everything in Flash 8 because it compresses everything so much more. Like, we'll make a cartoon in Flash 5 and it'll be like 1.5 megs, and then you put it in Flash 8 and it's 700K or something, so it really makes a difference. So to keep bandwidth under control, we do that sort of thing. But
so there's beautiful Flash 5, and it was back before Adobe sued Macromedia so they could have tabbed folders over here.
Yeah,
which
that's
is one
another
thing
reason.
we like.
Like, I guess now that they've merged, or Adobe bought Macromedia, the next version of Flash supposedly is going to bring back the little tabs over there. But that was one of the biggest reasons why we kept using 5, was because it's so much easier to use from an organizational standpoint.
So I was just going to show what we generally do is we've got several hundred cartoons at this point, and so obviously we don't need to redraw the characters for every cartoon. We can reuse graphics, so we'll just open up as a library something that has, say, the background in it, and
we never organize things in folders because that would make it too easy to find
so there's
stuff.
just like 200 something items. There it is, ground. So I'll make a thing down here and drag it in. And Sky is for some reason called Sky 2. There's Andy
Andy?
Sky 2. It's been called Sky 2, that symbol, probably for 6 years for no reason. We've never changed it to just Sky. And then we also have a little border that we put over everything to give everything a nice rounded edge, because round things are nice.
Homestar's on top of the border.
Well, I'll drag the border up in front of him.
There you go.
So anyway, This is the magic of making Homestar walk. So I've got this walk clip. It's its own 10-frame graphic that just loops. And so we'll just tween it from there to there. And then at that point, I've already broken him apart into 4 layers, with each part being on a layer. And I'll flip that foot and make him so he's sort of facing that way. And we animate everything at 12 frames a second.
Because that's what you did in 1999.
In 1999, that's all
the internet could handle.
And that's how we learned to animate, so we have rarely done a few things at 18 or 24 frames a second, and of course it takes us way longer, so we stick with 12.
It's funny, for when we do DVDs, there's we do a fake FBI warning thing at the beginning, you know, like the one from the 80s with that fading background, and then one of the characters will always come out over it, and in order for that fadey background to look good in Flash, we'd have to make it at 30 frames per second, and I think that was just easy too, because all videos at 30 frames, obviously, or 29.97 or whatever. And so then we have to animate the characters at 30 frames per second, and it's a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's just like
Takes
making
like
the cheat where,
3 days.
usually like the cheat when he turns around, it's like 2 frames, and he just goes like doink and flips around to the other side. So this way we'd have to like make some mid-frame of the cheat turning, and anyways. We're glad that things were the way they were in '99, so we definitely makes it much quicker. Plus, we try and make a 3 to 5 minute cartoon pretty much every week, and so animating at 12 frames per second definitely makes that possible. I feel like if we tried to animate quicker, at least for us, I'm sure there's people that do it, but for us, it's the way we can get something done.
So did you see that, guys? Look, he stopped walking. Isn't that amazing? And this is a trick that Matt patented. It's called the doink, where it just kind of goes up and down when you're transitioning from one thing to another. You just make him kind of pop up a little bit, and for some reason it makes it look better.
We learned that people call that in the cartooning industry. We met a guy that just graduated from SCAD, and it's called squash and stretch in the animation industry. But I was like, no, that's doinking.
That's another thing.
You can't fool me.
We were totally self-taught animators and illustrators. I was a photography major at University of Georgia, and Matt went to film school at Florida State. And then we both kind of realized we didn't want to do that as our careers, and just started teaching ourselves Photoshop and Illustrator and Flash. And Homestar was originally just a tool, something to learn Flash with, because we were going to try to get jobs, at making banner ads for, icebox.com or whatever was the Flash animated.
I got one of those jobs.
Yeah, Matt worked at Mindspring, and then which became Earthlink for several years.
Sweet banner ads for Earthlink.
Yeah, we just discovered buried in some Earthlink pages, there's still some icons that you made like 6 years ago or something.
Go to the Earthlink personal start page in the accounting section or banking section. There's a few of my icons still up there. I was proud. My legacy lives on. I'm not going to show my kids Homestar Runner when they grow up. I'm going to be like, you know what your dad did? He made this like market sign that has one graph going up and it's red, and the green graph is going down, which is wrong because the red graph should probably be growing. So you're going to make him say a line here?
I'm going to make him say a line of dialogue, and I will.
Sorry.
No.
I was just going to say why this is one of the things that we love about Flash 5. And again, there's probably several things. We've tried to have people tell us this, like, oh, you can do that in Flash 8. We just didn't know how to do it. But this is something that I don't think you can do, is that, like, show them. So, like,
so his head is here on frame 2. Another thing that, people know Flash, if you make everything a symbol and put every symbol on its own layer, it just makes things a lot easier from an organizational standpoint. So to make Homestar talk, he's got 3 faces: closed mouth, that mouth, and that mouth. The O mouth.
roundy mouth.
Roundy mouth, squarey mouth, and closed mouth. So it's really easy to animate. We accidentally made all these characters very easy to animate. Most of them don't have arms or legs. Several of them don't have mouths or anything like that. And we, created the characters in 1996 before we were ever going to animate them. So we totally lucked out. The characters that do have arms and like elbows and things, we just tend to not put in cartoons very much.
That's why Bubs is always behind a concession stand.
Yeah.
So you don't have to mess with his legs.
Bubs is frickin' elbows. But so anyway, it's 3 frames, and I've got it set to single frame at 1, so when he's not talking, it's just going to stay closed. But if I put not on that frame. If I put a keyframe and make it go to frame 3, that's his O mouth. And so I can just click on this frame, and this is one of the things that's different between Flash 8 and Flash 5. In Flash 5, I can just click on these frames and I can still hear the sound. So I know right there he stops saying "oh," and so I can put that, and he's starting to say "heh," so I can make that, and then I can just cut and paste. And he's saying "oh." And right now I'm just cut and pasting frames rather than keep going back down here to type in frame 2 or 3. I know which ones are which.
We don't necessarily. Most of you can probably that do Flash animation can probably animate way better than we can. So we're not saying this is how you have to do it. This is just our process.
I don't even know what he's saying here, so it would help if I listened to the soundbite so I knew what he was saying.
I recorded this right before we left.
This is my talk and mouth move, is what it sounds like he's saying. Hello, guys. Do we have volume?
Here we go.
So I can just sit here and click until he starts to say "my."
So yeah, in Flash.
In Flash 8, I would have to sit there and do that.
Yeah, if you drag it across, you'll hear the sound, but when you click on the frame, you don't hear that one little, frames worth of sound, which makes it so much easier when you're lip syncing dialogue. And that's like, I mean, that alone is one of the reasons why we still use this 5-year-old, 6-year-old version of Flash.
So you're saying mouth, so I'll get the M or the O. Mouth. Great
and again,
times.
that's another thing with Homestar and doing it at 12 frames per second. I mean, we could add a mouth, a half-closed mouth, or like another in between the O and the square mouth, or something like that. But it actually at 12 frames per second, you're not going to get that much more in between. You're not going to see that much more.
Yeah, it's already hard enough now. Sometimes you have to decide where he closes his mouth, because he sort of closes his mouth halfway in between 2 frames.
So hello guys, this is my talk and mouth move. Great time.
So there you go.
And so what I would do probably is go ahead and give him a little,
This is my
and he's kind of,
talk.
so I'd make him move around a little bit maybe for an interesting line like.
Oh, hello guys, this is my talk.
I might try a little harder to make that look better, but actually I probably wouldn't try. Matt's generally a better animator, so anytime you see really just "Hi, I'm Strong Bad" animation, that's me, and Matt will make him move around a little more. I'm just trying to plow through these things. Matt, generally I do about I don't know, 70%, 60 to 75% of the cartoon I do, and then Matt does any complicated scene with a lot of characters or where there's actually some kind of action other than just characters talking. Matt will do and spend 5 days on, and then I'll just plow through the rest of the cartoon.
And Mike also, while I'm recording stuff, Mike starts to do the rest of the cartoon. So I'll be recording the dialogue and breaking it apart and all that stuff, and then Mike's just getting busy on starting the cartoon or placing scenes.
Doing new graphics, if there's any unique, new drawings. We try to reuse stuff as much as possible, but inevitably there's going to be some objects or backgrounds or something that we need to draw new.
We'll start out a week and be like, all right, this, last week was rough. We did 3 all-nighters to get this cartoon done. So this one we'll try and stick with just, not to make it jokes we've done before, but just, I'll take place at Bub's concession center, places we've already established, and then inevitably we end up inventing a movie theater for this cartoon, or having some new thing happen that we have to make a bunch of new graphics, or we're always shooting ourselves on the foot that way.
What else, Matt?
Why don't you just show them that cartoon? So show them something in action a little more.
What, the accent?
One, yeah.
So this is.
You have an HTML?
I do. Why don't you tell them what this is?
So this is just we're putting out another DVD. It's time. We've gotten another 30 Strong Bad emails done, and so we compile them onto DVD at that point, and add it with extra features and commentary and all that crap. And so we try and put bonus stuff on it to make it worthwhile. And so this is a bonus email that's going on the new Strong Bad email DVD.
And this is a question that Strong Bad gets asked a lot, and so we finally, just as a bonus thing, we decided we'd answer it.
Robot jokes, robot jokes. There are no robot jokes in this email. Dear Strongbad, what happened to that Mexican accent you used to have? It made you sound very exotic and hard. Yours truly, Joy, Mesa, Arizona. Oh yeah? Well, Lisa thinks you need to stop her talking like that right now. What do you mean, what happened to my accent? I've still got it, and it's still awesome. Big, isn't it? Let's do some research. Here's my accent a few years ago. Do you take off your face and hands before you go to bed? Here's my accent a few seconds ago. Here's my accent a few years ago. Maybe it has changed a little bit. But that's only because I've gotten more worldly and streetwise, right? It's still what makes me so devilishly charming.
I don't know, Strong Bad. According to my projections, at the rate your accent is changing now, in 5 years you'll sound like this.
Oh, hey all of you guys. I'm a Strong Bad. Holy crap, I am so great. Rough charms and gravelly demeanors! God! I gotta save my weird accent! Wait, I'm gonna have a floating computer in 5 years?
Don't worry, I've called in a specialist.
Hey there, Springboard! I'm here to help you with your accent!
Oh, this is gonna be good.
First, we gotta figure out what makes your accent unique, and then exaggerate the behoozits out of it.
My accent has behoozits?
Okay, go!
Competition!
Ow! You better try it again, or I'm gonna have him start working the kidneys.
Competition! Competition!
Okay, let's see the Homestar Runner just threw up all over your latest caper. So you give up one of these.
Religious corn?
Right, the holy crop.
Holy crap!
Yeah, no, yeah.
Archie, are you sure rubbing sandpaper on my throat is really necessary?
Oh, absolutely. First, you won't be able to eat salad foods for a few months, but at least no one will bug you about your accent. Hey, you've come a long way, Strongbow. Your accent's as thick as a wagon full of flapjacks. Now get in there and hand things female.
Okay, aren't you idiots? I don't want to hear another flicker one about my accent. Not that. So until next time, holy crap!
Next week on Strong Bad Email.
Something, Larry. Holy crap! Competition!
So that's that. That's kind of that's what we do. That's Strong Bad emails. The cartoons we do, probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 out of every 4 updates is one of those. We've done 170 something at this point over the last 5 or 6 years. Making Strong Bad's head waggle around in front of the text and making the text animate. That's one of my specialties. That is really not fun to animate text being typed across a screen. But anyway,
We've tried a couple times to figure out a way to automate that, but Flash can't look at a WAV file and like interpret what it is. We were like wanted to figure out a way we could just bring in the sound file of Strong Bad and just have it be like, okay, when he gets loud, his head goes up. When he gets soft, his head waggles. And then we could just like plug it in, and the ActionScript would do the rest. But nobody could figure that out for us.
I found a few things laying around my my folder that we've never done anything with, and most of them I don't even know why I made them.
What's this one?
It's just Homestar, just with a helmet and knee pads on, flying up in the air.
What is that from?
I don't know. That's what I said.
That's from the monster truck one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who said that? Nice.
Impressive.
That's another thing. Is there's a Wikipedia, its own thing, a Homestar Wiki online that is amazing and ridiculous and kind of frightening. And we use it like anytime they have like a drive, they'll have a drive because it's all just whatever, just people volunteering to do it, and so their cost of bandwidth and everything is just out of pocket. And so anytime they have a drive, we try and donate to it because we use it probably more than people. That's a good one. He's going away.
It's another thing I made for no reason.
Yeah. But so we use that wiki all the time because we'll be like, start to make a cartoon and be like, all right, what's the one where Bubs has a toilet brush? Why he has a toilet brush in some cartoon? And then so you just look up toilet brush on what is that?
I'm not done animating that though.
The Keep on Trucking guy
on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that from that sketchbook drawing?
Yeah, there's a sketchbook drawing Matt made of that, and I just decided I haven't gotten very far, but I at least got the rough.
You're keeping all these secrets.
I know, this is the one I found this morning. I had no idea why I made it or what it is. It's called SB Style.
Let's make a t-shirt of that. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's oops.
Oh, that's in Flash.
Yeah. We're going to do one where it looks like it's kind of a rough animatic. You know, you see the pencil in between drawings of like Disney cartoons and stuff before they.
Is that all it does?
That's all he does. I spent like 5 minutes on that one, but I was just making sure it could work and it look okay.
How to draw Strong Bad the Marvel way.
Yeah. By the way, anyone, if you've got questions during this, you can feel free to ask questions now.
Are we done showing other things that we need to show? We show them the Atari game real quick.
Oh yeah.
You have that?
That's one of our lifelong dreams. We got a friend who programs games for the 2600, and he actually makes cartridges. And so we started talking to him 3 or 4 years ago, and we wanted to actually make a Atari game in 2004 or whatever. Still hasn't come out yet, so it'll be even funnier when it comes out in 2012 that we're producing an Atari 2600 game. How do I do this?
I guess try and drag it on top of it. Try to drag HS onto that. Oh, no.
Can I just do this?
Open that and then I forget. I don't know. Oh, you probably have to install it. Maybe you can't do it.
All right.
Sorry.
False alarm. But anyway, it's really is on a cartridge, and so what the graphics were like a 8x8 grid of asterisks that you had to.
He'd send us. He'd be like, "Here, make some graphics," and he'd send us the template, and it was just a text file that had it was like 16x8 sideways grid of asterisks, and then you made the stuff you wanted to be pixels be dashes instead or something, and so you're making them sideways and stretched out, and then he'd put them in the game, and it was like, "Oh, they're strong sad." That's pretty cool.
This is the Georgia Tech reference on the site. We made a video game that's tried to be like the worst video game ever. It was like track and field, or one of those games where you have to mash buttons really fast, but it was a race walking game, and you have to press left and right alternately, but you can't go too fast or you foot fault, and it literally I think would take like a day to win to go 50K. It was like several days. But anyway, so we made it for no reason. You could totally customize the way the character looked. And
the only fun part.
There's
of the game.
four or five people that we made where if you make it look a certain way, and I think it's yellow, black, yellow. I think that's right. Yeah, it becomes Luke Schencher, who was the center for Tech a few years ago. So then here's playing it. Oh, wait.
Go. Oh, you went too fast.
Now watch how long. Damn. I want to at least get to this next hash mark.
Come on.
Go! And that's 0.101. So that's 100th of 1 kilometer. So that's like 1/5000th of the game or something.
I think we eventually made it to where if you actually do a whole kilometer, then like the screen starts to black out and he walks into blackness.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we didn't program this far. We added that when somebody like emailed us a few days later and was like, "Hey, I got up to 3 kilometers," and we're like, "Wait, really? People are doing that?" So we figured we should add
Anyway.
something. And then,
So you gotta factor in a few faults too, because it sits you there for like 5 seconds after you make a foot fault.
What else? What was the? Oh yeah, there was some email where someone announces Strongbat as the Ramblin' Wreck of email check.
Yeah.
That's the only other. We tried to figure out if there were any Georgia Tech references on the website.
Which is pretty good because there's no like Georgia references or Florida State. I mean, it's not like we've got references to everything.
One though, where they're from Tallahassee and he pronounces it Gainesville, just to piss off the. So let's take questions. We're out of
questions.
Show.
Yeah, we're done.
Where did y'all come up with the idea for Trogdor?
Trogdor.
Based on Ed Emberley drawing books, which is these things when we were kids, a series of drawing books where it's like to draw an alligator, you draw a triangle, and then you draw a rectangle, and a bunch of triangles on the back for the scales, and then 2 lines, and it broke it all down. And so originally the email was going to be mostly about like how to draw crappy drawings, and so it was Strongbat's version of that, doing this dragon. And we had somewhere, we tried to find it actually to bring it up here, just the sheet of Mike and I trying to draw worse dragons than the others, so it's just a sheet of terribly drawn dragons. And finally
So you can,
decided on the...
Yeah, you can see like the sort of the evolution of, like, oh, well, we like the beefy arm sticking out of the back, and we, so there's like 20 or 30 different variations, some of which are pretty hilarious. Yeah. Some of them are just flat out alligators, like crocodiles.
And then it's funny though, because the song at the end of it was a complete afterthought, sort of like we were making the email, and it essentially was an email about bad drawing. It was more like this illustration email, and then Mike was finishing up the email as we had worked all night, and so it was like breakfast, and I was in the kitchen making eggs, I think, and started singing that song as a joke, just singing this Trogdor song. And Mike was like, "Well, now we have to make that," and so then we made the end.
Here's something else I forgot to show. There's a fake heavy metal band that's Strongbat's favorite band called Limousine, and so in making, we made a real album and had to make some fake album covers. And one of the things I made was I wanted to make Limousine like doing gang symbols out of fingers, and so I tried to do it. And originally the idea was going to be like a hot woman with red fingernails and make spelling limousine with her fingers somehow. So I did a test to see how it would look, and
it's the most obscene thing.
Horrifying results.
It's so gross.
And like the E's are all fat and stubby.
It just looks for those Saw movies.
Yeah.
Fingers.
I thought we might get arrested if we published that.
That is pornographic. I don't know why. Yeah. Obscene. Anybody else have a question? No?
Who does the voices?
I do.
Guitar Hero 2, you got the song in there, so how did that come about?
The guy from Harmonix, Alex Regopoulos, just emailed. He was a big fan, and emailed and was like, "Hey, would you guys be willing to put a track in as a bonus track?" He asked about one of the song Trogdor is on Guitar Hero 2 for the PlayStation 2, and as an unlockable track. And so yeah, they were just fans and contacted us, which was pretty awesome. And what else happened with that? It was funny because I was like, wanted to like repay the favor. I was like, "Was there anything, I'll send you whatever," and he was like, "Oh, I've already got everything." Like I was like, "Oh, I'll send you some T-shirts and some DVDs," and he was like, "I've already got it all." I was like, "You really have all the T-shirts?" And he was like, "Well, pretty much." So that was pretty cool to find out that most of the stuff we've rarely sought out any of the cool collaborations that we've been able to do over the years, and have just lucked out that people were just psyched and contacted us, which is it's a nice, lazy, totally like what do you call it? Non-confrontational way to do it. Sit there and wait for cool people to come to you. That's the moral. Anybody else? Yes.
I know a lot of Flash and webcomic sites now it's becoming common for the creators to have a news or a blog page where they just talk about pending projects, things going on in their personal lives. They answer questions from fans, things like that. They have a comment section. Have you guys ever thought about adding a page like that to your site?
Hilarious, you're just...
Yeah, we've just talked about that like in the last week or two.
But what we wanted to make it was the excuses blog, and we would only update it when we don't update the website. Because it's all, we always have a really good reason. We never just like blow it off. It's always like we're working on some other project, or like there's something going on in our
Having a
personal
baby
lives,
or
like,
something.
Yeah. And so we were just like, yeah, we need to start the excuses blog section, and just like every time we don't update, it's like, hey, look, you know, and maybe show a little bit of what the other thing we're working on or something, or like we need to take this week off to work on the DVD. Like the week when we made that accent email, it just sucks. Like we made this awesome email, and then the next Monday we had to make another cartoon for it. And we're like, oh, we just made a cartoon.
So yeah.
So we're thinking about it because it's the sort of thing where we felt like it would sort of appease people if they knew that, like, you know, so maybe the hate mail wouldn't come in when we don't update, and people wouldn't be pissed off like, oh, I'm not going back to Homestar anymore, man. They don't update anymore, or something like that. Which so maybe the excuses blog. Look for it in 07.
Question behind someone I can't see. Yep.
I know you guys have worked with Mike and Matt several times in the past. Are y'all going to keep collaborating?
Yeah.
We're trying to. You don't have any. Could we show a small clip of that? We could turn the audio down. Maybe they wouldn't care about that.
Yeah.
We don't know that it's so cool working with them. It was another thing that they just came to us, which was amazing. Like in the same day, we got a package from Jim Malon, who is one of the producers of Mystery Science Theater. He operated Gypsy. I don't know if anybody knows. And he sent us a Tom Servo. So in the same day, we got a Tom Servo puppet, and then got an email from John Linnell from They Might Be Giants, and we were just like, could have died the next day and been happy. But they're so cool. They're really laid back, and like, we've never had any contracts or agreements in any of the stuff we've done. I mean, like, we made a video for them. It was on MTV. It's on DVDs. Their stuff, you know, their song is on our DVD. And like, they've never made us sign any of those things. So it's funny because we're working on this thing for them now, and I have no idea. We haven't talked about if we're getting paid for it. We haven't. There's been no discussion of contract, or we didn't have to sign a non-disclosure agreement or anything. So it's funny. I was like, I'd like to show. We'll just sort of show. You can let it play for a little bit. It's the song. 'Cause the song might be. Maybe they wouldn't want people to hear the song.
It's a kids. They've got some kids DVDs. There's one called "Here Come the ABCs," and this is called "Here Come the 1, 2, 3s," and so it's a video for that.
The number 8.
And so it's just lots of race car driving and kids ice skating, things like that. This was actually something we animated at 18 frames.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of just to, because we knew it would.
Show them the robot.
Oh, the robot. Matt's proud of his robots. Don't nobody talk about these robots on your blog now.
But so hopefully, I mean, yeah, so we're actively doing this for them right now, and hopefully, I mean, it's been cool because they've treated us like, not like just some kids that we one time did something with these guys, like, they like treat us like we're like, they want to collaborate with us, which has been like hugely validating and awesome. So hopefully, you know, we'll continue to work with them.
Hey Matt, here are your robots.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Mike. I wanted to see them. There they are.
They're kind of Tron Transformer robots.
Any other questions? Yes.
It's probably to be expected, but I know a lot of us probably want to hear some of the voices.
Sure. Does somebody have a question for a character? That's always easier to do than to just start talking like them. Do you have a question for a character? Yeah, put your money where your mouth is. What?
How do you type with
that's the last question you should ask.
How did the Chief do voices for his own cartoons?
That's what I would like to know, because from what I can tell, the guy's got 2 throats. Because his one throat, it's like monkeys, you know, they can't talk, like no matter what, their vocal cords can't support human speech, you know. And from what I've, you know, and I've had to pull stuff out of his throat several times, and he chokes on things and stuff, and it doesn't look like he could talk. And then all of a sudden he starts making cartoons, and he goes into the secret room when he does the voices, so I never see how he does it. And it comes out and he sounds just like this.
Hi, Songbird. I can do it all the time.
It's amazing. I don't know how he does it.
I have a question for Homestar.
Does anyone have any more questions for human people?
Because I'll leave if not.
Did he ever get a new cow lamp?
I've been to every thrift store and vintage store and antique store in the country. Yeah, I've got the cow lamp. So if anyone wants to make me a custom cow lamp, that would be great. Just so you know, it was made of that like dried, I don't know if it's animal skin or something. It has the leather like binding around the top. It was 3 of those with like caveman drawings of cows. It's my favorite lamp.
Yeah, did you have a human question?
Yeah, speaking of voices, what do you do for recording voices?
We have a little, like a sound room, it's not soundproof by any means, but it's better than sitting in front of the computer in our old crappy apartment, which is what we used to do. And so we just have a decent, mic. We got, it's whatever, a low impedance one that after 3 feet it just stops recording sound. And we go into a USB preamp that M Audio makes, which is great. It's got XLR and 1/4 inch inputs. And then that just goes USB into the computer, and we use, I use like a 5-year-old copy of Cool Edit Pro to do all the stuff. Now it's Adobe Audition, which we also have new versions of that. But, and that's worked out for us, so. Nothing fancy.
It's good that it doesn't record sound after about 3 feet, because in old recordings when we had an apartment together, you could hear me like doing the dishes. There's one sound.
Find the worms, squishies.
Worms.
Do you have the main page or something? There's a sound of this like squishing that we've used forever, and you can hear. I think you recorded that sound actually.
Yeah.
You can hear me whistling in the background, and we still use it. It's great. I've tried to sort of get the whistle out of it, but I kind of liked it.
Which one is that?
Whistle. What's the is there anyone from the wiki here? Yeah, see? main pages, which is the Halloween one?
Graveyard, 7.
7, okay, there you go. See, that's what we do, as we're making a cartoon, we do that about 100 times. There is Worm, so crank it. Listen at the end, you'll hear me whistling. So that's,
there's one where you can.
Sound is improved.
There's one how you can clearly hear a truck driving by because the window is open. We had this apartment that had no air conditioning. I mean, it was just awful in the summertime, and so we just have the window open, and you could hear dogs barking and trucks driving by and stuff.
Look, there's a goof. The shadow of Homestar's little table is going over the cow lamp.
Oh yeah. Wiki. Not anymore.
Re-upload that. Any other questions?
Is there any Easter eggs that we don't know about yet?
Probably not. I think with the advent of the wiki, there's nothing, we can't hide anything. It's funny because the people started watching it like they watched it full screen, and so you can see all this other crap that we kind of don't want you to see on the side. It's just like, the edges of graphics and things, and so like when Homestar walks in, he just disappears, when he like leaves the frame or whatever. And so if you watch it, and it's nice to watch it full screen, I understand, but then you get all this extra crap that kind of makes the cartoon ugly, and so that's why for a while we made that border huge, like the symbol was gigantic, so that like even if you watched it all the way, like it was still black on the edges, you watch it full screen. But so, because people they start poking around, they like decompile our flash files and look and stuff, and so we've started adding a few things here and there for the nerds that do that stuff. And so like there's one where these 2 Homestars appear, like it appears that there's 2 Homestars, like you can barely see the edge of his feet on the sides of the frames, like that's in the actual cartoon. But so then to make it consistent with in the universe, one of them has a mustache, but you only see it if you like decompile the flash thing and be like, oh, well, that's Homestar with a mustache. And then what else? There was something where recently Strongbat almost showed you his a picture. People always ask about the character's parents, and that's something that we don't want to touch. We're just like, who cares what their parents are like?
Is it this one? Which one is it?
That's the chair. He gets the new chair.
Yeah, chair.
And so we decided he acts like he's showing you his parents, but something's in the way, so you can't see this photograph. And so if you decompile it though and look at that symbol, it says it's like nice try or something like that on it, knowing that people were going to do that. So we've had the Easter eggs have had to go into this like technical flash level just to hide stuff. Yeah.
Is that why you guys did the widescreen for the special email? I think it was the 100 one.
The virus one.
No.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it was 100, yeah.
Where he goes, whoa, where have you been? He said, I'm always here.
Right.
I think I live here.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't have that email.
You don't have 100 on here?
No, 162. I was looking for the nice try to Dongo.
Oh.
It's on the wiki.
It is?
Yeah.
If we don't have it here, look on the wiki. Anybody else? Yeah.
Will there be more peasants questions again?
We went on a big long walk yesterday. We're talking about the future of Peasant's Quest. So it's long. I mean, it takes a long time to do that one. Took us like 6 months to make or something. But yeah, hell yeah.
Peasant's Quest is a King's Quest-like graphic text adventure, and most of our video games, most of the games we make on the site are intentionally like 1985 to 1989 era graphics.
We try and make them fun, unlike the one we showed you.
Yeah.
Even though they look like old graphics, we try and actually make
They're more fun than that one. But anyway, yeah, so I was just lamenting the fact that I think it's been almost 3 years since the first one came out, and we, have just not gotten around it. It was like a 6-month process to make the whole thing, so we'll make another one. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else over here.
Where's Stinko Man level 10?
That's also coming. That probably will come before Peasant's Quest, actually. That's totally in the works, and what we're going to do is add, maybe add difficulty levels, add midpoints to each of the levels, too, because people always complain that it was too annoying and hard. So we're going to add midpoints to the level and maybe difficulty levels so people will actually play it.
Here's a Stinko Man theme song that we've never used.
Single man, single man. Fine, 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 fine.
I didn't do any more animation. Anyway, some people...
The guys from Da Vinci's Notebook, who is this humorous a cappella band that it's kind of broken up now.
Yeah.
Did that a long time ago. They're the same guys that did this cartoon called The Ballad of the Sneak on the website. Yes?
How do y'all do the writing? Is it just you look at the emails and once you feel it's funny, you go with it, or you do thinking in advance?
Both ways. We'll look through the emails. We have a good ones folder that when we find one we think is good, we'll just separate and just be like, we don't not necessarily that right then it starts to write itself, but just like, oh, that has potential. And so we'll always go back and look at the good ones folder. Or sometimes there's times when it's like, okay, we want to do an email about this, so let's search. Unfortunately, he gets enough emails that you can usually just go
reverse engineer it.
Yeah, do a search for that word and see that there'll be 5 or 6 emails with that. Pick the one that's the best. Like that accent one, because like I said, that was one that we wrote a long time ago because we get that question all the time. So I was like, oh, that'll be an easy one to find. So we just looked up accent in whatever in Thunderbird, and it brought up like. They were like, that one had like 30 results for things, so we just picked the one that we liked the best, and so yeah. And then as far as just straight up writing for like cartoons and even for emails, we usually we're pretty tapped out by Monday or Tuesday whenever we put up the cartoon. So we take it easy one of those days, and then starting on Wednesday we just like go for long walks and try and eat at weird places to make us think of funny stuff, or just try and get inspiration from whatever. Where we work is pretty, we work in a kind of depressing strip mall, which is always good.
Kind of depressing.
No, in a good way.
The other places of business are Piccadilly Cafeteria, a hearing aid store, a medical supply store,
like Canes and Walkers.
Yeah, an adult diaper store.
Adult diaper wear, like wholesaler.
Yeah. Scooters, and then there's like a Family Dollar and a Big Lots. I mean, everything is like for old people or,
Great.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. So we're in the basement there, nobody knows what we do. We just walk in there and lock the door, and people like always try to open the door. There's been a couple times where we don't lock the door and people just poke their head in like thinking I don't know what they think we are, but they're just like come in and it's like, hey, leave, please.
Anybody else? Yes.
How much time do you actually spend checking emails?
There'll be, the days when we're looking for one, if we like don't have an idea to go for, we'll both sit there for an hour or more just like reading emails. Unfortunately, they break down into like 5 categories that are all the same, so it's like having to find the ones that aren't that, and especially at like now that we're at 170, it's like even if it's like it's a different question, but it kind of treads the same territory. We're trying to we got to try and keep it fresh for us too, in addition to trying to keep it for the viewer. People just want him to draw Trogdor again. That's like 50% of the emails again. Like, draw another dragon, or draw Trogdor again, or draw a girlfriend for Trogdor.
Yeah, girlfriend for Trogdor.
So. Yes.
Hints for what not to email about.
What?
These are hints for what not to email about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do we ever do that?
Talking about making an email that's him doing that. Like, here's the...
Asking about his parents.
Never email me these things, please.
Right. There you go. Yeah, get him to do the voices for me.
I was just curious what kind of staff you guys
Our sister does all the business. She runs the online store. And that's it. 4 of us, basically. So not much in the way of staff. I'm sorry. He's, lurking in the shadows, floating around, probably somehow defying the laws of physics. Those are some of his hobbies. He's doing pretty good.
Don't touch my severance package.
It's a little more obscene than I want.
One of the things I admire about the site is that I know you do voices for 95% of the characters, and each one is distinctly different. Did you study voice acting in college?
No, it was, Mike always says that it's just because I was the youngest and wanted attention the most when I was a kid, so I had to invent some way to make people pay attention to me.
He also just watched, he watched like Bugs Bunny cartoons, and he's got a very good memory, so he was just always, quoting Simpsons or old Bugs Bunny cartoons and doing the voices. And
in Mr. Turnipseed's algebra class, they would have, I didn't even realize when my voice was
you
changing.
had a teacher named Mr. Turnipseed?
Yeah.
Really?
I could do, when my voice was changing, it was only then. It was a short window of opportunity. I could do a really good Marge, and Mr. Turnipseed would have me do it for the class. And I think I'd just say like, "Oh, Marge," or something like that, and my voice was like pubescent enough that I could squelch it out. No, I never got any formal training or anything like that. I don't know. When we first started making the cartoon, Mike was just like, "Well, I'm not doing these voices, so you can make something up." So I was like, "All right, well, what about Coach Z?" And he's like, "I'm not doing that either."
Well, Coach Z was he used to do this really depressing Midwestern guy or something. We'd just be hanging out or something, and Matt would just turn into this really depressing guy. Like, "Oh, geez, things aren't going so good." And so he was actually... Coach G's become pretty depressing. He'll just get drunk instantaneously sometimes and things like that. And this guy was even more depressing than Coach Z is. But
yeah. Anybody else? Questions?
We got 17 minutes left, guys. Come on.
Yeah. That came from an email. It was an email that somebody sent. Actually, that's I think it's the only Strong Bad email that was not sent to Strong Bad. It was actually sent to Mike and I. And it didn't say Dear Strong Bad. That's something we changed. It was just like an email, and they were like, what she meant was when you make a cartoon of me and my friends is what I'm assuming. And so it's just this girl that was like, "Oh, hey, will you make a cartoon of my friends? Here are their names." And so I was like, "Oh, I gotta forward this to Strong Bad."
Did you actually do that?
So I don't think I did forward it. So, I try to not treat the characters like they're real people too. And so then that was just, we just really did it, and then decided that this could be something that would be fun to keep doing. And actually, that's one of my favorite. That's another thing that we don't do is often. It's much easier, obviously to make because there's no animation. It's just drawings. And but we try, and so we could crank those out like crazy, but we try and keep it. I don't know. So it feels like that's something we could have made. Some people probably think it's already gotten old, but we try and. I feel like the girls have taken on these much more in-depth lives than we ever thought possible. Yeah, they wouldn't be if we were going by but
no, it's possible.
Bart Simpson's been 10 years old for for 15 years or something. So.
They're 18 now.
Is there another? Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, the kind of style of humor that you guys have, has that developed over the years, or has it just always been a name as brothers, just kind of, because I have a little brother and we have a weird style.
Right.
Is this always how it's been? And has that reflected the way that you guys have made your jokes and the kind of quirky humor that you guys had in the background?
Yeah, I think it's definitely that's just the way we were. We've just been screwing around with each other, and in our whole family, there were all these dumb whole family inside jokes and stuff like that. And so we just started making the cartoons just sort of to amuse ourselves.
And that's what I really found was interesting about it, was you were able to take that strange dynamic that was how do you express that weird family humor attribute so well and make it relate to other people? That was one of the
I was always encouraged when people would say that exact thing. It's I don't know if there's just being shows and cartoons being overwritten and written by 10 people over a period of months, it sort of loses any sort of that was once there.
Yeah, not to, I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but it's sort of a commentary, not to diss on the Happy Tree Friends, but there was one episode of the Happy Tree Friends where I think it was the squirrel falls off of a cliff and his guts just keep coming out, and it gets down to where it's his toe or something comes out of his mouth. It was pretty, it's just very itchy and scratchy style, that whole cartoon is. And at the end of it, there were 20 writers for this cartoon that was it was like a 3-minute long cartoon, and it was mainly just a cat getting a squirrel getting his guts ripped out, which is if that's your thing, that's great, that's funny, whatever. But I was like, really? It took 20 people to be like, oh wait, and then his stomach comes out. Oh, I never thought that his stomach would come out. I stopped at his lungs. And then I said, oh no, and then we keep going down to his toe. So it's like it took this room full of 20 people writing that. Well, like I said, I'm not trying to diss on it. It was just surprising to me that it was like, like Mike said, I feel like a lot of stuff gets overwritten and maybe more.
And the other thing is we do all our stuff pretty much. We try to put out a new cartoon on Monday. And back in the day, it used to be written and produced all day Sunday, but these days it's a little more. Usually we're writing Thursday and Friday and Saturday. We're sort of recording and getting stuff done, and then Sunday is a marathon session of animating. So everything's written and produced like within 2 or 3 days of you seeing it. So there's sort of an immediacy to it that wouldn't be there. That's why we've always not been interested in doing TV, where you've got to write episodes 6 months in advance, and it just would lose kind of some of the spontaneity of the writing. You'd overthink something and not put it in there, whereas now we're just like 4 in the morning, like, yeah, let's just do that. And, so it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes that's probably yields terrible results, but sometimes it's good.
Is anybody that hasn't asked a question? Not to.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. My question was, since we're having financial sponsors or going through advertising, what kind of pressure do you put on yourself or might as it finish? It would seem like at this point you might get a little bit laid back. 2 weeks go by or something like that.
Well, it's mostly the pressure. We try not to disappoint fans. I mean, I think that for me anyway is more incentive to do something, to stay up late, to just give the people that have supported us what they're expecting. So it's not we're not trying not to let any financial things influence what we do.
Because we got to this point by not caring. We didn't set out to start a business. We were just kind of amusing ourselves, and so it was like that worked to get it to where it is. So it's like if we started to think about like, oh, we should bring this character back because it was a big seller, then that would change it and probably make it worse. So
yeah, so it's definitely been a challenge, going from it being a spare time, something we do for fun, into our job. There is that sort of balance that you've got to deal with, but we try not to let the money side affect any of the creative side at all.
And so our sister lives in Alpharetta and works out of there, so we rarely see her, and she does all the business stuff. So keep her physically far away from it. Yeah, and you had another question.
Who made the puppets?
Our friend Lucky Yates. He is a local. He used to work at the Center for Puppetry Arts, and now he works as an improviser at Dad's Garage. And him and this guy Chris Brown, who are both just local puppeteer guys, made all our puppets.
Again, we were friends with them before. We just had friends that were good puppeteers. So like, hey, make us some puppets. And if it wasn't for that, we would have never gotten puppets made.
Yeah. Yes.
I know you guys show up at conventions sometimes. How's your relationship?
One time.
No. How's your relationship with other artists in the online comic community?
We don't talk to a lot. I mean, we have to be kind of heads down to try and do something every week, for us anyways. And but
we talked to Red vs. Blue people.
Yeah, we met the guys from Red vs. Blue. They were all nice dudes. We met them actually. We did meet them at what was that? At South by Southwest.
South by Southwest. Yeah.
And the guy that does Dinosaur Comics. Anybody know Dinosaur Comics? Yeah.
It's really good.
That's quants.com, I think is the website. Mike just bought me some stuff for Christmas from there, and the guy was saw his email address and was like, "Hey, Homestar Runner, that's awesome." And so we became sort of just email friends with that guy. So we yeah, I don't know. It's the sort of thing where we're not trying to be antisocial, but we don't. If we sought support from the rest of the web cartoon community, we could hopefully find it. But we just haven't we're just 3 dudes.
We're trying to put all of them out of business anyway, so it's best if we don't know who they are.
There's a question over there. Do we have any what? With us?
No.
I mean, I can take it. No, we didn't bring any merch. I'm sorry. Will you run the merch table next time? Yes.
Do you find it hard not to wear your own t-shirts?
It's pretty easy. Most of the ones with the characters now we've started making these shirts that aren't like a character. It's like there's one that says my baby got stolen by a bear holding a shark. There's one that I saw. Yeah, the one with the Vidalectrix 500 disc on it. Those ones. It's like we're making shirts more that we would wear. I mean, not that we didn't want to wear the characters before, and we used to back in the day before like anybody knew what we were doing. But now it is, not that people ever know who we are or recognize us, but it would be weird to be like, you're wearing your shirt and somebody's like, oh, hey, are you one of the Homestar Runner guys? And she's like, yeah, I'm wearing it.
I saw Stone Cold Steve Austin in the airport a few years ago, and he had a hat and jacket on, and I saw him from afar and thought, oh, he's trying to, blend in, and then until I noticed he was wearing a Stone Cold shirt and a WWF hat. I was like, oh, wait, he's not trying to blend in at all.
Anybody else? Yes.
Okay, this is kind of a personal request. I don't know how familiar you guys are with Georgia Tech traditions or anything like that, but could you get Strong Bad to say, what's the good word?
What can you explain it briefly?
The tradition is you say, what's the good word? And then the response will be, to hell with Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Then you say, what's the good word? We say, to hell with Georgia again. Then you say, what's the good word? To hell with Georgia. And then you say, how about them dogs? And you'll find out what the response to that is.
Should I do it, Mike?
I'm not comfortable with this, being a UGA alum.
Mike went to UGA. I don't know.
Maybe we should get George P. Purdell to send you guys an email.
Who?
George P. Purdell.
Yeah.
He's our fake student. We have a fake student at Georgia Tech.
Nice.
It's a long story. It's better than anyone else in the school.
I don't know. Should I do this?
Yes.
Yeah, do it. Sure.
And so I say, what's the good word?
Yeah.
What's the good word?
To hell with Georgia!
What?
Say another
Again?
character.
What is again the good word?
To hell with Georgia!
I'm supposed to say it a third time.
Yes.
What's the good word?
To hell with Georgia!
Then what's my next line?
How about them dogs?
How about them dogs?
Piss on them!
That's it?
Is this supposed so am I supposed to envision a picture of a yellow jacket taking a leak on the bulldog? That's the most disturbing thing ever. They should make those like they have the Calvin pissing on Hobbs, Calvin peeing on, Dale Earnhardt, Sandra Bernhard. I'm gonna sell that one. Junkman's daughter, maybe.
Thanks, though. That was awesome.
That'll be $500. Anything else? I think we're almost out of time here. Yes.
You guys were talking about places you guys want to visit, but outside of weekends for fun.
What do we do for fun? We live in Decatur and all are homeowners, so we hang out at each other. So Ryan's got an awesome porch. We grill out. Ryan's a home brewer, so we go to drink Ryan's beer at his house a good bit. I got a Nintendo Wii that I don't play as often as I'd like to. So we like video games. We
play basketball sometimes.
We shoot hoops in the morning sometimes. We try and do other dumb creative stuff on the side, like Mike just got this
like Ryan's shirt.
Yeah, Ryan's shirt that says orange as shit. Mike made that. It's orange, it's smiling, it says orange as shit. So we're always trying to do other, if we're not doing Homestar. It does sometimes not necessarily tap you out, but it's a nice thing, like doing that They Might Be Giants like video is actually fun sometimes to do something that's not, the website.
Made real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were trying to daring each other to just make short films and edit them and be like, the idea was that within 2 hours you had to make a movie and edit it and have a DVD that you could bring over to somebody's house. We called that Made Real Quick. I don't know. What else? Where do we hang out? Do we hang out?
Our houses, yeah.
We never leave Decatur.
Becoming domesticated.
Yeah, Mike's got a baby, I got one on the way. So you got to come over if you want to hang out.
We're a load of fun.
Anything else?
This guy's a master of SketchUp over here.
No, I'm not.
Look at that.
Getting it up. Is there any more questions? Anybody else? Well, I have a poster over here, and you guys are welcome to sign it. I got Sharpies, so you can show your appreciation for Homestar Runner. Write little notes, but don't write a book, because there's a lot of people, so you might need some room on there. And We just want to give them a hand for coming and taking their time out.
Thanks, guys.